Hello, I'm Cindy Poulos, the Vice President of Marketing for DiscoverLink, and today I'm talking to Jim Sullivan about above store leadership in the restaurant business. Jim is the author of the best-selling book, Multiunit Leadership, and co-designer of DiscoverLink's brand new e-learning program called Multi-U 2.0. Jim's clients include Chipotle, Panera, Texas Roadhouse, Domino's, McDonald's, Marriott, and Chick-fil-A. Jim, welcome.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm very, very excited to talk to you today.
So Jim, let's get started with an overview question here. So what's going to change in the next 5 years for multi-unit leaders?
Oh, good question. And, they say that you really can't see the future. And the way we can prove that is that you never see a headline that says psychic wins lotto. But in the near future, I think what we're going to see is a business that has gone from episodic change to perpetual change. I think we're going to see that continue in the next year or two. And you think about how customers have changed and how technology has impacted our industry in the last year. It's really significant. That's probably going to continue. As far as 5 years down the road, well, I think the things you can think about are things like what's going to change: systems, hiring, development, training, the impact of AI and virtual reality on our business. And those are going to be significant. But I think also the thing to remember is think about, and nobody ever asks this question, is what won't change in the next 5 years? Because you can build a really robust business strategy around the things that won't change. And the things that won't change are quality, training, people development, hiring, and each and every day making your team better than they were the day before. So I'd focus on those things while we also get excited and maybe a little bit challenged by what the future could bring.
Interesting. So what will multi-unit leaders have to do to stay ahead of those changes?
Another good question. Well, they're going to have to learn faster. They're going to have to prioritize better. They're going to have to develop their people more. They're going to have to improve the customer experience and the employee experience. And what's really interesting and good to remind everybody is that the number one way you improve the customer experience is by improving the employee experience. It's really that simple and also that hard. So, if you have as long as you have it in the right order, that take care of your team first, improve them first, and they'll improve how your customers feel because they interact with them each and every day, then you have your priorities in order.
So you're saying in a world of continuous change, technology disruption, it's still really all about the people.
Of course it is. And, that's never changed and probably never will change as our business evolves. And it's going to evolve in a lot of different ways. There's also a whole new great generation of operators coming in that will affect how we see, how we integrate technology and how the restaurant business will transform. But it's still coming down to people. Change is not something a company does. It's something that your people do. And companies don't build business. They build people. People build business. So, improving your leadership skills means that you'll retain more people. A recent study that I saw that maybe you're familiar with said that over 70% of hourly or frontline employees tend to stay longer with the company when they believe that the leadership is strong. So if you improve your leadership skills, you retain more people and you solve that big challenge we have right now, which is hiring. Where do you find good people? Well, you start by not losing the good people you have.
Right. And so how important then is it to have the right attitude for multi-unit leaders?
Well, I like to say that have such a positive attitude that negative people don't want to be around you. And then that will work. That is a strategy. And I think it's important to eliminate or minimize sarcasm in the workplace. That's a big part of what we do. But a positive attitude means that you're optimistic, but you're also getting results. Because if you're just cheery and happy all the time, but you're not getting results, that positive attitude is not going to be worth too much. I think your team wants to see progress. I think a positive attitude is that we can get through this. We'll get through the next thing. Here are the milestones. Here's what we'll do today to improve. Here's what we did, and look what we got. And then I think the team looks at that and says, you know what? I saw you create success out of these 4 or 5 things. What's number 6? What's number 7? Let's go for it.
Right. So it sounds like they really need some creativity in doing all of that. So how can multi-unit leaders prepare for and succeed in this new normal, and how can they be more creative?
Yeah, well, creativity is abundant, but what's scarce is execution. And I think that's a big distinction to understand. What our teams and what our multi-unit leaders especially need today is they need to really have the right kind of skill sets, tool sets, and mindsets to get them ahead of change and get them to that next generation of thinking and leadership. And I want to do a shameless plug here, and that is for the course that you mentioned at the beginning, Multi-U 2.0. This is a course that we've worked on together for the last 6 months. And it's not just a list of, oh, here's all the things you need to do, here's the best practices. What I think is most important for a multi-unit leader in this day and age, in the next 5 years, is to teach them how to think and not just merely tell them what to do. And the course is really built on that concept. The second concept it's really built on is executing with habitual consistency. So if you can think strategically and each day incrementally improve across all your stores, that's really what a multi-unit leader needs and is a hallmark of whether they succeeded or not. And I think this course, without patting myself on the back or your back, this course really achieves that. It's a unique way of learning the art and skill of multi-unit leadership, from everything from critical thinking skills to strategic clarity to the art and science of a high impact restaurant visit.
Right. Well, if I can play devil's advocate for just a second here, e-learning programs can sometimes get a bad rap if they're rich in content but poor in application. So how is Multi-U 2.0 different from that?
That's a really good point, because I think there's a lot of people watching this, and even in my own experience and yours, that you look at some e-learning programs and they're really just PowerPoint on steroids. They don't, they tell people what to do, and they don't teach them how to think, as I alluded to earlier. And I think our program is really different in this way, because it allows you to self-assess your competencies against the best demonstrated practices of high-performing multi-unit leaders in the last year and a half, not from 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but people who really stepped up in this crucible of leadership challenges we had in the last year or so. And what did they do differently, and which of those leadership skills are important going forward? So you can self-assess your own competencies compared to the best. And then you can learn things like how to juggle multiple priorities, how to understand the difference between urgency and what's important. And these are skills that are best done through interaction, reflection, assessment, and an opportunity for people to think about what they're doing each and every day instead of just going through the motions. I think that if you enter this program as a multi-unit manager, you'll absolutely leave it as a multi-unit leader. There is, of course, a digital workbook that goes with it, with templates, forms, and those assessment tools I talked about. There is a great, incredible tool at the end called backcasting that'll help you set your goals every quarter for your market. And finally, you get a digital copy of the Multi-Unit Leadership book too, which I think is a nice underpinning to the whole course. So I apologize about the plug, but I think it's important that everybody understands that this is a great program, and it's only $299 each. So I'd encourage people to take a look at it.
Well, thanks, Jim. If you are interested in taking the Multi-U course or learning more about it, just visit us at multiu.discoverlink.com.
Thank you very much.